You know, the Pacific Ocean isn't just a giant pool of water. It's really this massive engine that drives our planet's climate. Its rhythm, its pulse, it dictates weather for pretty much all of us, from farmers in India to skiers in the Rockies. And right now, that pulse is changing. Okay, let's get into it.
Have you ever stopped to wonder why one winter is just brutally cold and snowy, and then the very next one is, mild and kind of dry? Or why some hurricane seasons are just relentless while others are quiet? Well, a lot of the time, the answer isn't in our local atmosphere, it's thousands of miles away, in these temperature shifts happening in the tropical Pacific.
So, scientists call this whole phenomenon ENSO, which stands for the El Niño Southern Oscillation. The easiest way to think about it is like our planet's climate heartbeat. It's got two main phases that you've definitely heard of: a warm phase, which is El Niño, and a cold phase, which is La Niña. And today, we're really going to zero in on La Niña.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with how scientists even take the ocean's temperature or its mood. Then we're going to look back at 75 years of climate history to see the big picture. After that, we'll get the current diagnosis, where we are right now. And finally, the part you're probably waiting for, we'll check out the forecast and see what all this means for the coming season.
Okay, so how on earth do you take the temperature of an ocean that covers a third of the planet? I mean, it sounds kind of impossible, right? But scientists have this incredibly effective tool that lets them do exactly that.
It's called the Oceanic Nino Index, or just ONI for short. This is the key vital sign. It focuses on this one specific, really critical patch of the Pacific Ocean, called the Nino 3.4 region. By measuring how much warmer or cooler this one area is compared to its long-term average, we get a super clear signal of what ENSO is up to.
And the process is actually pretty straightforward. First, they measure the sea surface temperature. Then they compare that to a 30-year average to see if it's warmer or cooler than normal. That's the anomaly. And finally, they average that anomaly over a 3-month period. That way you smooth out any little short-term blips. That final number, that's the ONI.
So this is the really crucial part, the threshold. If that 3-month average temperature is half a degree Celsius cooler than normal, so an ONI of -0.5, we have officially entered La Niña territory. On the flip side, if it's half a degree warmer, +0.5, that's an El Niño, and anything in between is just considered neutral.
All right, so now that we know what the ONI is, we can use it to look back in time. And this isn't just a history lesson for the sake of it, it's about understanding the rhythm and the sheer scale of these changes, so we can make sense of where we are today.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The Climate Prediction Center itself says that this index is the tool that puts today's headlines into a much bigger, much more meaningful context.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. This chart tells a story. This is that heartbeat we were talking about, visualized all the way back to 1950. The red peaks, those are the big El Niño events, pumping all that warm water across the Pacific. And the blue valleys are the La Niñas, the cool phases. You can literally see them cycle, this natural ebb and flow. There's no perfect pattern, but that rhythm, it's absolutely undeniable.
And this table just perfectly illustrates the dramatic flip we've just been through. I mean, look at the numbers for 2023. A super powerful El Niño, with ONI values peaking near a very strong +2.0. But then, just watch the transition in 2024. The numbers absolutely plummet, crossing zero and diving deep into negative territory. This isn't some slow drift, it's a really rapid cooling of the Pacific.
So all that historical data brings us right to the big question. What's the official diagnosis? Based on all the latest data coming in from late 2025, where do we stand right now? And there it is, the most recent ONI value for the August to October 2025 period has officially hit the magic number, -0.5 degrees Celsius. That is the trigger.
And because we hit that number, the ENSO alert system has been officially upgraded to a La Niña advisory. The diagnosis is confirmed. It's not just that the sea surface temperatures are below average, and this is key, the atmosphere above the ocean is responding in a way that is totally consistent with La Niña conditions. The whole system has now locked into its cool phase.
So we have our diagnosis, but what's the prognosis? What does an active La Niña actually mean for our weather in the coming months? Well, that's what the forecast is all about.
Well, the forecasters think this La Niña is going to stick around through the winter, but it might not be a super long-lived one. If we look ahead to early 2026, the probabilities start to shift. See that?
there's a 61% chance that the Pacific will transition back to ENSO neutral conditions. So it looks like we're in for a classic La Niña winter, but the ocean might be heading back to a more balanced state by the spring.
So, the Pacific has taken a deep, cool breath, and we're calling it La Niña. We're seeing the effects right now, and we have a pretty good idea of what's coming next. But the one thing that's for sure is that the ocean's rhythm will continue, and its pulse is going to shift again. The only question is, what will its next breath mean for all of us?